Are we live? Hi everyone. I think we might be live at the moment. I'm hoping that I am anyway, and I'm hoping that my voice is okay. I've actually messed about with the settings on, excuse me, on my microphone tonight and set up the studio down in London. And yeah, I'm hoping that my microphone, my sound is okay. You'll have to tell me in the chat if it's not. I'm not getting anybody in the chat. Double check, make sure everything is okay with the stream. Just gone live, says Liam Bowbrook. Sorry everybody, I know this sounds a little bit unprofessional, but there we go. Well, like I say, I'm down in London at the moment, so yeah, this is a new setup down here that we've got. The lights aren't right yet, but it'll do. Hi everybody. Oswhistle says sound is good. Titch, thank you Titch, in the other room. Yeah, sounds fine. That's good. Wonderful. Right, I've been travelling today. I've travelled down to London, so I haven't got all the stories done, ready for tonight and loaded in that I wanted to get done. I had 6 I wanted to get done, and I think I've only got 3 actually managed to get loaded in. So the other 3 are going to have to come tomorrow, unfortunately. But we're going to get straight into it. I've got a lot to say. There's so much that's happened over the last few days, and we might as well get into it. Hi from Saskatchewan. Say Share Burkett. Saskatchewan. What a cool name. Saskatchewan. I'm from Wolverhampton. Down here in London. Okay. I only covered this story I'm going to talk about tonight. So I only covered this last week. The OPCW revelations. And that are just, well, they're debunking the narrative that Assad gassed his own people in Dimmack back in 2018. And I've covered recent revelations, another OPC whistleblower, and now we've got more revelations on Dimmack, this time from WikiLeaks, who have published an internal OPCW email that casts more, well, it raises more questions about the alleged attack. Now, I just want to give you a bit of a reminder as to what happened. And this is Dimmack. Cast your mind back to Dimmack 2018. There was an alleged chemical weapons attack, and it was filmed by the White Helmets. The aftermath, supposed aftermath, was filmed by the White Helmets. And remember, you know, the children there coughing and spluttering. It was terrible. Apparently 49 people died in it. That was footage that was filmed by the White Helmets. And then there was the analysis online from Bellingcat, who basically said, yeah, it looks like that these were cylinders that were dropped from a helicopter by Assad. And this led to Theresa May quoting those findings. She called them open sources in the House of Commons in her speech as the reason to bomb Syria. There was enough compelling evidence that said, yes, that this was Assad that did it. The only problem was at the time it didn't add up. But I covered in my latest video that there was, you got Admiral Sea Lord West or something like that, the greatest name ever. He was saying it made no sense. The only people who would benefit from a chemical weapons attack in that area at that time were the terrorists. And we know that they have access to chemical weapons, and they have done chemical weapons attacks themselves before, so it made no sense. And there was also the rush to judgment, you remember, at that time. You know, we bombed. Why? Why rush to judgment over this? Why not just wait? Why not wait for all the facts to come out? Why not wait for the OPCW to get there? No, they bombed the country before the OPCW got there. Although I don't think they bombed Dimmack. I don't think they bombed the place where the OPCW were going. They couldn't get there because it wasn't safe there. There was a problem at the time because these open sources, Bellingcat and the White Helmets, are funded by the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office, among other places. There are serious questions over whose side they are on, especially in the case of the White Helmets. And there was some great reporting then that came out a week later from Robert Fisk that basically said, in the Independent that basically said that these children in the video were suffering from hypoxia. There was shelling that was going on. It raised dust in the tunnels because they're all hiding with it in tunnels over in Douma as the shelling went on over there, and they got dust in their lungs and couldn't breathe. They got hypoxia. White Helmets apparently ran in, shouted gas, started pouring the kids with water, filmed it, and filmed the confusion. And this is what Robert Fisk reported. And then we had 18 witnesses from the hospital scene who went to The Hague, who testified that no, this is exactly how it happened. The OPCW just came in and started pouring water on everybody. And in some cases, the kids got rice and biscuits. So there was that. You know, that this made no sense at all. This is a theory that is just lies. Then we had the first whistleblower come out from the OPCW. That was somebody who worked as part of an engineering team off-site, who came out and said this just it doesn't make any sense. Then we had the interim report, which the Wood of Alabama questioned and said, you've said that there was chlorine in the area, but you haven't said at what levels. Without the levels, we don't know whether if they would be elevated if there was a chlorine attack, that sort of thing. Then we had Rhian Delati came out, the BBC Syria producer, saying I've got evidence that it was all propaganda and a propaganda stunt that was filmed in that clinic. And then he locked his account and he went private, and we've heard nothing since. Then we've obviously, let's not forget as well that report, that original report, was leaked to the Working Group on Propaganda and Media in Syria, or Syria Working Group on Propaganda and Media, people like Piers Robinson, David Miller, who were attacked by the Times newspaper, by journalists such as Deborah Haynes, who have been, we know that they're part of the Integrity Initiative operation because they've been named in the documents that were released there. So this is a smearing of people who are just releasing suppressed documents. This is the state actually trying to suppress information from coming forward, truthful information that are pissing all over their narrative. That's certainly what it seems like to me. And now we have the latest revelations from the WikiLeaks drop. Just bear me a second, I've got a new setup here. So Caitlin Johnston has written about it. When I drop the video, I'll leave a link underneath to this article. It's excellent. And she's saying here it vindicates the people like myself and her who have been on this from the very beginning. I just want to scroll down to this highlighted piece here that I've highlighted from it. She said this: the leaked email from, this is the leaked email from WikiLeaks she's talking about. The leaked email, which has been published by WikiLeaks and several other outlets, was sent by an unnamed OPCW investigator to the OPCW's then Cabinet Chief, Bob Fairweather, outright accusing OPCW leadership of misleading the public with the information it was omitting from the report it was drafting. I mean, all this is on top of all the stuff I've told you about, and then the video I did last week with the second whistleblower coming forward. So this evidence is seriously starting to mount up now, that he's piddling all over the official narrative that we've had from Theresa May's government and her lickspittles in the media. I'll continue with this. It says, those who've been following this scandal closely may remember Fairweather as the man who journalist Jonathan Steele recently, that's what I was talking about, reported, was responsible for calling investigators into his office to be intimidated by unknown officials from the United States government. The email was sent to Fairweather on June the 22nd, laden with pointed words and phrases like misrepresents the facts, selectively omitting, highly misleading, disingenuous, inaccurate, and a major deviation from the original report. Less than 2 weeks later, on July the 4th, the investigators were reportedly called into Fairweather's office for a disturbing meeting with US officials, which deeply rattled them. So we've had the second whistleblower come forward, and now we've got testimony from people who are saying, listen, you know, there's been pushback here from within the OPCW, and they're being threatened. They're being forced to They're being forced to keep quiet about any information and not let any information into that report which doesn't back up the original narrative, the original spin that we had from Bellingcat and the White Helmets, these companies that are funded by the government, remember, and came to conclusions that led to the government bombing Syria. And now any information that's coming out that is actually in opposition to that narrative, they're not only suppressing, but as you can see there, as I've just read out, intimidating people within the OPCW to step in line, to get in line. You can see what's happening here. The email that WikiLeaks have published accuses the OPCW and people higher up in the OPCW of doctoring the report and distorting facts. And that is an accusation by somebody who actually is in the OPCW. They've been accused of doctoring a report and distorting facts by members within their own operation. Anything that is in opposition to the official narrative, anything opposing the state's official narrative that it was chlorine, governor, and it was dropped by a helicopter and it was Assad that did it, case closed. Any information that has come out that is in opposition to that has not only been left out of that report by the OPCW, but also suppressed. And anybody who was dissenting, any dissenting voices, have then been intimidated to shut the hell up. Bodies have been moved by the look of it in this case. It made no sense that all those bodies died of chlorine poisoning there because apparently it killed everybody in the area, and that never happens with chlorine. It's usually only deadly in 5% of cases, and there was no sign of these people running away. So it looks like they've been planted there. And we know the White Helmets were in the area. Put two and two together. There are questions that need to be asked here. There are questions, to be quite honest, that should have been asked long, long ago. This is a huge story, isn't it? I mean, it looks like at worst here, worst case scenario, we have committed the supreme war crime again. This is future. This is future. This is proof, in my opinion, that we are living right now in a dystopian future where the truth is not the truth. Truth is lies, do you remember, in 1984? The media's silence on this story so far has been deafening. I have done video after video after video debunking it on my meagre wage, if you like, and what I get from you guys supporting me. I've done my best to disseminate that information and to give you the truth. The silence from the media is deafening on this. Just apart from Robert Fisk in The Independent with that report when the incident first happened, since all this has come out in the last 48 hours, the only two outlets I can see up until I went live tonight, either side of the Atlantic, that have reported on this are Peter Hitchens in the Daily Mail and Tucker Carlson on Fox News. I shit you not. Jonathan Cook on Twitter said this: "It's a sign of how far we are through the looking glass that the only corporate journalist prepared to report to us, the overwhelming, quote, evidence that we were lied to about events in Syria are a rogue columnist at the Daily Mail, Peter Hitchens, cuckoo about cannabis, and Tucker Carlson on Fox News." Here's the segment that Tucker did. It's about 7 minutes long. I've watched it. It's excellent. It really is excellent. They're the only outlets that are reporting on this. What does that tell you about whether we're living in a dystopian future right now? This is one of the biggest scandals on the planet, and our media don't want to talk about it. Why is that? Why are they not talking about war crimes that our governments are doing right now? Why? Ben Norton, we live a dystopian hell. You're absolutely right, Ben. Where Fox, one of the most biased right-wing outlets imaginable, is for once actually doing a fair and balanced coverage of Syria. Meanwhile, the neoliberal media is ignoring or denying the massive OPCW Duma scandal. And you can see there, that article. Fox News. Other than that, our watchdogs in the media, the people who are meant to hold power accountable, are silent. Silent. I think it's time we appointed new watchdogs, don't you? Because this is proof in my eyes that our government, along with the help from their Mockingbird media, are creating and distributing their own fake news. That's what this is. They've created a narrative. They've used that narrative as a reason to bomb Syria, and then anything that is coming out that is in opposition to that narrative, they are suppressing and muddying the waters. This is the government creating their own fake news and our media refusing to hold them account, but going along with it. Like I say, their silence is deafening on this. Remember, if this wasn't enough, if all of this wasn't enough to make you just wince at just how badly the narrative managers in the government and their media have spinning this, just remember when this incident first happened, the White House released a press release saying that this was a sarin attack. Come down quite a bit from then, hasn't it? Fake news, man. Fake news. Kathy Lloyd, thank you very much. A little something for all of your truth bombs and hard work. That's very kind of you, Kathy. Yeah, I can't do this without your help, guys. I can't. And I want to try and fund my thank you, Kathy. That's really, really kind. You went all in. Thank you. I want to try and get out there, and because nobody's going to ask these fucking politicians the questions that we need to ask them. Nobody's going to ask them about Julian Assange. Nobody. So I'm going to have to get out there and do it, aren't I? So I need to get out and get on the ground, and I need your help. I'm going to do a video about it over the next couple of days and just try and get some cameras in these politicians' faces and ask them some bloody questions that are going to be uncomfortable. So I've just showed an example of the media silence on a huge story and just how useless they are. And it's interesting because we've got election season in full swing over here at the moment in the UK, and we're surrounded by all these election promises that come out from both sides. You know, I heard somebody say it looks like Boris Johnson's found the magic money tree and Jeremy Corbyn's found two. I'm not sure about that, actually. It seems Boris Johnson's coming up with a hell of a lot of promises that, well, let's face it. I mean, he said that there's going to be another 20,000 police. Wonderful. You've cut 21,000 in the last 9 years, though. So isn't that proof that you've done the wrong fucking thing? You know? And then you got Jeremy Corbyn with his free broadband. I thought, yes, that's just what we need, free broadband, where you're going to get expelled from having a voice on if you don't call people by the wrong gender, or if you don't call people by the right gender pronoun. They will do that, trust me, if you end up with a state-owned broadband, especially if it's a lefty one. They will cancel you from going on there if you don't refer to, you know, a certain singer as they. You see my point? The point is they just make this shit up in the media. The politicians just make this shit up. Don't listen to a word that they say in the run-up to this election. Here's one of their previous election promises, getting absolutely the slightest pushback from the media. of these politicians, and they're all over the place, which is why it amazes me it doesn't happen more. I mean, here's ITV's flagship programme. Oh no, it's BBC's actually, Politics Live, and they caught Liz Truss out. Just look at this. This is fantastic. 200,000 they planned a year to build, remember? I think it's 200,000 starter homes they were going to build.
You say you had a plan. You have a plan. You had a plan in 2014 to build 200,000 new starter homes. That was 5 years ago. How many did you build?
Well, there haven't been as many starter homes as we would have liked.
How many did you build?
I don't have the exact numbers for you.
Well, it's easy to remember. It's zero. You built none under that plan. 200,000, zero in 5 years.
See, this is what they'll do. They'll come up out and make all these grand statements that we're going to add 20,000 here and 200,000 homes there and 50,000 jobs there. But they're just making the shit up. The slightest pushback on them, especially if you look at their history, just exposes their lies. And if you want proof of that, I'm going to take you to ITV's flagship news programme, Good Morning Britain. Because the government, Boris Johnson's government, they've come out with a statement that they're going to pledge to deliver 50,000 more nurses in their manifesto. And here's, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Piers Morgan doing the job of a journalist. Yeah, Piers Morgan over here and Tucker Carlson in America. It looks like they're the height of journalism at the moment in the West. That's how bad state of affairs. Anyway, listen to this.
The trust in Boris Johnson is very low. We know when he did a debate recently and it came up as a question, everybody laughed at the idea he could be trustworthy. When he leads a manifesto, that the flagship policy in it is there going to be 50,000 more nurses. And now you as the Culture Secretary, a member of that cabinet, a member of the government, admit that 19,000 of them already are NHS nurses. Viewers...
They've come out and said 50,000 new nurses. Great, okay. Yeah, if you look at the numbers, it's actually only 31,000 new nurses. Well, where'd you get the 50,000 from? Oh, well, the 19,000 are nurses that already have jobs. What? How are they new then? Oh, we're going to stop them from leaving. Listen.
At home go, well, this is complete nonsense.
But there will be 50. There are other ways that nurses come in to the NHS. There will be overall, and this we're very, very clear on this, 50,000 more nurses if you look in 10 years' time than there are today.
I know you keep saying
and
that.
in terms of the trust
I know you keep saying that
issue,
19,000 of them are existing NHS nurses. Do you see the problem?
Well,
if I've got £19 and then somebody says, I tell you what, now here's 31. That's not an extra £50 I've got. It's an extra £31.
But I think it's realistic to say we've got highly skilled staff who we do not want to leave. And that is, if we are able to persuade them and to encourage them to stay, that is good news for nursing care.
Yes, but it's not more nurses. Nicky Morgan, isn't it a bit like saying on Good Morning Britain tomorrow morning there will be 3 more presenters? And then tomorrow you just have exactly the same number of presenters because you managed to persuade me, Piers and Charlotte to carry on doing the job tomorrow.
Well, not if there's an additional 3, not if there's an additional 3, and then you've got your 6, haven't you? But the fact is that 3 of you have been encouraged to come on Tuesday morning and not just on Monday morning.
Yeah, Nick.
And that's where she got her extra 19,000 workers. So 19,000 of those 50,000 extra nurses that she said she's going to get, the reason they're extra is because there's no certainty that they're going to stop in the job. Once the Tory government get in, they could all quit. But we've convinced them to stop on another day. Therefore, it's extra. Truth is treason in the Empire of Lies. Why not just say we're going to have 31,000 extra nurses? Why not just say that? Why not just say there's going to be an extra 31,000 nurses? Therefore, that's going to make 50,000. Why not just say an extra 31,000? I can tell you, that's a lot, isn't it? 31,000 extra nurses, that's a lot. There's no need to lie if you're going to say you're going to do 31. You're going to create 31,000 extra nurses' jobs. There's no need to lie about it. So why say 50,000? I put a hypothesis to you that they're already lying. They were lying about the 31,000. They've got no intention of the extra 31,000. They've got no intention of the extra 50,000. They've got no intention of an extra 50. They're lying to you. If you're going to lie, it looks like the Conservatives have said, you know what? Everybody knows we're liars. We might as well lie big. I swear, the best politician who's never been a politician in this country, you know who he is? That guy from the In-Betweeners. He could be the best politician in this country, in the world. If you're going to lie big. And that's what the political parties are doing right now. Lying to you, bigly. I was on holiday in Spain, and me and my mate went out on this pedalo. Oh, God. I've got a story to talk about, and it's about this man. This story I'm about to tell you, I've done a couple of videos on this story now, and it's getting even more tragic. And I've tried real hard over the last 6 months, year, to control my emotions when I cover a story of real injustice. And I really find it difficult with this one. It really makes me. Everything about this story points to the fact that we are living in a dystopian future right now. We are living in Animal Farm right now. And this story highlights it perfectly. It's a story of a young, I think he was 19, kid, 19, out one day on his bike, doing nothing wrong, having a ride on his bike, and he ran into a car coming down the other side of the road, the wrong side of the road for them, in Nottinghamshire, outside, not far from RAF Croughton, which is a US base, US intelligence base, I believe it is, a spy base, what they say anyway. And he was hit by a car coming down on the wrong side of the road that killed him. He was hit by somebody driving a lady called Anne Secoulis, who left after being questioned by the police over here to go back to the United States where she is a citizen. After specifically saying to the police, I won't do that. But then she won't. Then she went, she sought diplomatic immunity because she's the wife of a spy, of an intelligence officer. No, she's not. A diplomat's wife. She's an NSA spy's wife, is what she is. She came out of that base and wasn't paying attention, forgot we drive on the left over here, and killed young Harry Dunn. Harry Dunn's parents have tried to seek justice to try and get Anne Secoulis to come back to the United States, but she's refusing, and Donald Trump is refusing to let her, refusing to extradite her. Although there is no extradition request, from what I can tell, by the UK. They went to the US, Harry Dunn's parents did, to try and plead with Donald Trump to send this woman back to the UK to answer questions and maybe even face the inside of a court and face repercussions for her mistake. He told them no and revealed to them that she was actually in the other room and he can bring them in if they'd like, of which they didn't appreciate because he sprung that on them. And they've come back and have tried to get some sort of recourse from the UK side and the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office. What I will say is this: if I was in the United States, or you were in the United States, right, and we came out of, I don't know, anywhere, we came out of wherever we were going, you know, the hairdressers, Radio Shack, whatever you, a bus now, but, and we forgot which side of the road they drive on in America, and we turned a corner and hit a kid on a bike who was minding his own business and killed him dead, and then promised, hey, I won't leave to go back to the UK, I'll stop for questioning, and the police said okay, and I got on the plane and come back. Do you think the UK would send me back to the United States? Would they send you back? I put it to you that they would do it in a fucking heartbeat. It wouldn't even be a fucking question. They probably wouldn't let you back into the country. They would probably turn the plane around in mid fucking air. We may even go to jail if that happened to us over in America. Or if you're an American and that happened over here, and you're not the wife of an NSA fucking spy. Spying on you and me, probably. If I did that in the US, I would probably go to prison. Especially if I jumped and came back here when I promised I'd stick in, I wouldn't leave the country. The UK government would send me back there, packaged with a nice pink bow, and say, here you go, Donny. How far should we bend over this time? It seems there will be no justice for Harry Dunn's family or his father. This is the latest. Dimmack Raab heckled as Harry Dunn family left out of Hustings. Yeah, he went to the Hustings. Is one of those, you know, sort of like, I suppose, a town hall for MPs contesting an election to have questions put to them from their constituents. Seems they didn't want Harry Dunn asking them questions in that, so they kept him out of it. And this was the scene outside. This is why, by the way, this is why it took a turn. It took a turn, this has. The parents of Harry Dunn have said they are disgusted with Dimmack Raab after he defended the government's decision to seek legal costs from them. So now the government is seeking legal costs from the Harry Dunn family. The 19-year-old died after a collision in Northamptonshire in August that led to the suspect leaving to the UK claiming diplomatic immunity. Yes, she claimed it, that's all. She didn't have diplomatic immunity. She claimed it afterwards. She's not a diplomat's wife. She's the wife of a spy. Her parents have begun legal action against the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Mr. Raab said the government needed to, quote, protect taxpayers' money. I don't know whether anybody has started a GoFundMe yet for Harry Dunn's family to pursue this and to get some kind of justice from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, but somebody please do. They're going to seek legal costs from Harry Dunn's family. There's no justice for Dimmack Raab. None. Remember, Dimmack Raab is the Home Secretary who's dealing with this. And there's going to be no justice for Harry Dunn's family because of it, by the look of it. Let's remember Dimmack Raab, who's Foreign Secretary. Is it Foreign Secretary? Yes, Foreign Secretary who's dealing with this. You know, he, as Brexit Secretary, he's the bright spark that negotiated a Brexit deal and then voted against it in the House of Commons, which to me, it's like, to every question that's labelled that's aimed at a Labour politician to say, what, you're going to negotiate a deal and then vote against it? That's what you're going to do? Just say, yes, Dimmack Raab did it a few months ago. Were you not paying attention? This is him. It was filmed. Harry Dunn's father, outside those hustings, and ITV released the coverage. You are going to... this is going to be my last story tonight because I've only been able to set the three stories up tonight instead of the 6. You're going to go to bed angry. Listen to this. This is Dimmack Raab. Remember, this is Harry Dunn's father, who's just seen... He's had his whole life taken away from him. The government are stonewalling him. They just don't want to help him at all. He's getting the message of tough shit. Your son's gone, deal with it. That's the message he's getting from our government. And now, from Dimmack Raab, he gets this.
Mr. Raab, it's Mr. Dunn. Can I have a question with you, please? Is Mr. Dunn Harry Dunn's father?
You know what? I'm very happy to see you any time, but I better go in there for the hustings. I'm really happy to come and see you any time. Not right in front of the cameras. It's not on. He wants to talk to you.
Not right in front of the cameras. It's not on. Yes.
Please, Mr. Raab.
I think the other people waiting, but I'm very happy to see you any time. You've got my number. You know, I don't have your number. I gave it to you my time.
No, you didn't. You didn't give us our number at all.
We'll play that again for you. Play it again for you. So, Mr. Dunn has gone there to the hustings because he knew Dimmack Raab was going to be there. Because he wanted to talk to him about this, and he's obviously being stonewalled and he's not getting any answers whatsoever. And they've cut him out to dry, and now they're going after him for legal fees to protect the taxpayer, says Dimmack Raab. And this is what Harry Dunn, who's just had his son killed by the wife of an NSA spy because she wasn't paying attention after she came out of one of the 12 bases that they admit to that America has in the United Kingdom. 12. No, is it 13? That's what they admit to. And this is what he was greeted with by our Foreign Secretary.
Mr. Raab, it's Mr. Dunn. Can I have a question with you, please? Is Mr. Dunn Harry Dunn's father?
You know what? I'm very happy to see you any time, but I better go in there for the hustings.
Very happy to see you anytime. Really? So why is he having to come and accost you like this? Is it because you're ignoring him? Is it because you're actually ignoring him, Dominic? Is that it?
I'm really happy to come and see you any time. Not right in front of the cameras. It's not on.
It's not on. We get to that.
He wants to see you any time. Not right in front of the cameras. It's not on.
It's not on. It's not on, that's what he's saying to Harry Dunn's father. It's not on. Harry Dunn has lost his son. He's lost everything to him, probably. That's how he must feel. I can't imagine it. He's lost all hope of any sort of closure. He's lost the trust, let's face it, of his UK government and his Foreign and Commonwealth Office, because they're not going to pursue justice in this matter. They don't give a flying fuck. There's Dimmack Raab saying, it's not on, you coming here and trying to talk to an elected official about his, not giving a shit about your son getting killed by the wife of an NSA spy. It's not on, you coming here and asking me a question in front of cameras. It looks like Dunn's father had been trying a while to get in touch with Dimmack Raab, doesn't it? Remember, this is the same man, Dimmack Raab, who just the other day was on television saying that, quote, nobody gives a toss about a Conservative Twitter account changing its appearance to look like a fact-checking site in the middle of the debate. He said nobody gives a toss. Dimmack Raab did about that. Do you remember? Well, I'm telling you, Dominic Raab, people give a fucking toss about this. Because it's plain to see here, as I started off this segment, that we are living in a dystopian 1984. Because there is one rule for one set of people and one rule for another. It seems all animals are not fucking equal in the United Kingdom, doesn't it? You run around screaming, nobody is above the law, when Julian Assange was dragged out of his asylum in an act of fucking fascism. Nobody is above the law. Wrong. Anybody who's rich is above the fucking law. Anybody who is an NSA spy or his immediate family is above the fucking law. And the 99% have fucking had enough of it, Rob. Because while there's justice for the rich and well-connected, there's only contempt from people like you for people like Harry Dunn's father and his family. There is only contempt from you, wagging your finger at him, saying it's not on. You're right, Rob, it's not on. It's not on that we are living in a 1984 dystopian fucking novel. It's not on. And I'm reminded of the great Mark Blythe, the economist, who says, you can't go on doing this. Sooner or later, people will come for you. Well, you know what? Today, Dominic Raab, one person came for you. One. Harry Dunn's son. Imagine when it's 65 fucking million. I can't believe that. Honestly, of all the stories I have covered, and I've covered some heartbreaking stories, no story makes me angrier right now than this. How can he do that? How can an elected official point his finger at a man who's just had his son killed by the wife of an NSA spy because she wasn't paying fucking due attention at the wheel? Wag his finger and say it's not on that he, after being stonewalled by the government and getting no justice whatsoever, just asks a fucking question in front of a fucking camera. It's not on, Rob. You're goddamn fucking right it's not on. Right, everybody. I think that's it. I'm very sorry. Like I say, I was travelling today, so I haven't got a chance to do the other 3 videos that I had. I was going to do. So I noticed somebody saying, "How's your back?" Good, and it's better. The exercises are working. Thank you. Yeah, there's another 3 I wanted to get to. I mean, where the fucking hell is it gone now? Here it is. Yeah, I want to get to this story. Let's just quickly tell you about it because there's 60 doctors that have come out. This is one of the stories that I wanted to talk about tonight. 60 doctors have come out and signed an open letter. I think it is, or they've sent it to the government. I haven't looked into it properly yet. Saying that Julian Assange could die in prison. So I wanted to get to that today, but I won't have chance now. I'm just trying to find the link now, and I can't bloody find it. No, I can't find it. But yeah, 65 doctors, I think it is, have signed a letter calling for Julian Assange to be moved to a better medical facility, and that's got quite a bit of. It was in the Associated Press, so you know all the others it'll filter out to all the others. So that's the story I want to talk. There's a story on Boris has pledged £2 billion for potholes. £2 billion. £2 billion. He said £2 billion. I googled it and they said there's only 100,000 potholes in the United Kingdom. that they found. So even if there's a million potholes in the United Kingdom, Boris's plan, that's £2,000 per fucking pothole. If he's saying I'm going to put $2 billion towards it. I'll look into that with a video as well. And also, they snuck the Patriot Act through, by the way. Looks like that's gone through with bipartisan support over in America. Barely a whisper in the media about it. The most devastating piece of legislation in the world, causing letting America go around the world, just causing mayhem all over the place. And they just snuck it through, no problem. Ro Connor voted for it again. Ro Connor. I don't trust that man. I really don't. There's also a stat I've seen about the number of millionaires in the last 20 years. The number of them, the amount it's risen by in the last 20 years. I'm going to cover that tomorrow, I think, as well. Right, I think that's it, everybody. Just quickly get into the chat. Oh, I can't. Right, let me do it. Right, it's not. Everything's locked, so I can't do everything. I'm hoping I'm still live, but yeah, it looks like everything's frozen on me. It's just in time. I'm going to go anyway. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'll drop these videos later today, probably tomorrow, that I've done tonight. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who supports the show, even if it's just with a like and a share. That really means a lot. I know everybody can't afford it, but $1, $2, if you do enjoy the show, you do enjoy what I do, come back, £1, £2 a month, it really helps. And support independent media. Let's make Orwell fiction again. Right, that's it. I'm out, everybody. I shall be back tomorrow. I can't see any chat, any messages, nothing. Everything is frozen up on me. So I'm just going to have to... I've just seen somebody say, fuck Ro Connor. I don't know. Voted for a terrible piece of legislation there anyway. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Thursday for the Free the Truth event. That's going to be quite good. Stick around. See you soon, and fuck Dominic Raab. Fuck him. Fuck him. Writing these